Good day everyone. I am Myra Pasaporte from the Bachelor of Physical Education 2B. This day we will tackle about the chapter 23, which is the body composition. The interest in studying human body composition stems from the intentions to determine the absolute and relative percentage contributions of water, protein, minerals, and fat in the human body, and to describe either deficiencies or excesses of a bodily component that is related to health risk performance or both. For example, bone mineral density or BMD is monitored in individuals with osteoporosis, a disease related to deficient bone mass, and body fat percentage is often assessed in individuals who are obese, a condition of excess adipose tissue or body fat. Height and weight are measured in children to monitor growth and maturation changes across the early lifespan in fitness and sports. Understanding an individual's body composition provides useful information for predicting athletic performance because a high level of fat mass or FM is generally detrimental to performance. In physical fitness, body composition is used to describe the percentages of fat, bone, water, and muscle in human bodies. Because muscular tissue takes up less space in the body than fat tissue, body composition, as well as weight, determines leanness. Body composition plays an important role in understanding your health and wellness, measuring the differences between leanness and too much fat. This allows you to accurately assess your health and plan your lifestyle and diet accordingly. One way to measure body composition is with a portable body stat machine. The body composition and health risk. Overweight refers to a total body weight above the recommended range for good health, or a body mass index or the BMI between 25 and 29.9, whereas obesity refers to severe overweight and a high body fat percentage. Both overweight and obesity increase the risk for certain chronic health conditions. When reviewing an individual's health assessment data, it is important to consider what proportion of a person's total body weight is fat. Example, the body fat percentage or the percentage of BF. Healthier body composition is less fat and more muscle mass. Too much body fat can lead to risks like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and other health problems. Next is the body composition models. To study body composition, it is necessary to break the body down into its component parts so that researchers can compare the components with reference models. There are various models for studying body composition, ranging from 2-component up to 6-component models. Multi-component models divide the body into compartments consisting of minerals, chemicals, soft tissues, and fluids. As physics and chemistry technology continues to advance, the biological complexity of the models also increases, showing subdivisions from atoms and molecules to cells and tissue systems. The table shows the increased risk for obesity-related diseases with higher body mass index. A value of 1 equals a standard level of risk, whereas values exceeding 1 represents increased risk. For example, a value of 1.87 means that the individual is at 87% greater level of risk. The next table represents the general body fat percentage categories. The classification includes the essential fat, the athletes, fitness, overage, and obese. When researchers apply the classic component model in their investigations, the following assumptions are made. First, fat density is 0.901 grams per cubic centimeter. Next, the fat-free mass density is 1.10 grams per cubic centimeter. Next, the density of fat and fat-free mass components are the same for all individuals. And last, the fat-free mass tissue components are constant throughout an individual, which is 73.8% water, 19.4% protein, and 6.8% mineral, and their proportional contribution to the lean component remains constant. This picture shows the variety of body composition models that can be applied to understand the individual's constituents that make up the human body. These models can range from, first, the simple two-component model that divides the body into fat mass and fat-free mass. Next, the three-component model or water model. Next, the three-component or mineral model. The four-component model, which best demonstrates the individual contributions of bone minerals or the 6.8%, protein, which is 19.4%, and water, which is 73.8%, in determining the fat-free mass of the body. And last, the complex six-component model that shows the body at the atomic level. This is an example of calculating total body density. Using the zero equation for a person with a measured body density of 1.0500 grams cubic centimeter yields a percentage of body fat estimate of 21.4%. For the same person, the Bruzig et al. Equation produces a percentage body fat estimate of 21.0%. See the following equations. So, the two examples are given in the image. The table shows the assumed values for fat mass and fat-free mass components. So the components includes the fat mass, fat-free mass, water, protein, and mineral. The next table shows the formulas for deriving body fat percentage from total body density, including the Shinie and Bruzig et al. Equations, and given its formulas. The determinants of body composition. To a large extent, a person's individual characteristics influence his or her body composition. Genetics, heredity, bone structure, and body type explain most of the variation in body weight and body composition among people. Energy balance, caloric intake versus caloric expenditure plays a significant role in regulating body composition. A healthy diet and daily exercises are the two most important factors that affect the ability to reach and sustain an ideal body weight and percentage of body fat. The gender, age, race, nutrition, physical activity, and hormonal status are the main determinants of body composition. Illness may have a significant effect on body composition. Malnutrition is a major complication. The first determinants of body composition is age. As described earlier, children and older adults tend to have less fat-free mass than young and middle-aged adults. From birth to 22 years of age, fat-free mass steadily increases in humans, with the exception of water content, which decreases slightly about 5% until age 20 years. From ages 25 to 65 years, decreases in bone mass, skeletal muscle, and total body water or TBW result in a significant reduction in fat-free mass, 10% to 16%, by the time a person reaches the 7th decade of life. Age, or the length of time that a person has lived or a thing has existed. In general, as individuals age, present body fat increases, and lean mass and bone mineral density decreases. Furthermore, the increase in fat mass, or FM, is distributed more specifically in the abdominal region, an area associated with cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Second is sex. Men tend to be taller, have more dense skeleton, and possess more muscle mass and a lower body fat content than women. It is likely that hormone differences, specifically variations in testosterone, play a major role in the body composition differences between men and women. These sex-specific differences in body composition are associated with sex-based differences in energy, substrate, utilization patterns. That is, females store more lipids and have higher whole body insulin sensitivity than males, while men tend to oxidize more lipids than females. The third one is ethnicity. Individuals of particular ethnicities, Native Americans, Africans Americans, and Hispanics have a relatively greater risk than other ethnic groups for obesity and its associated comorbidities. Example, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, and osteoarthritis. Asian populations, especially Asian women, tend to have less BMD than other ethnicities, playing them at increased risk for osteoporosis. It was soon realized that some ethnic groups, such as those of South Asian descent, need a lower cutoff of BMI, since they have smaller structure and a different distribution of body fat, with a higher percentage of visceral fat compared to subcutaneous fat. In general, blacks have a greater bone mineral density and body protein content than do whites, resulting in a greater fat-free body density. Additionally, there are racial differences in the distribution of subcutaneous fat and the length of the limbs relative to the trunk. Next, the physical activity participation. In general, both men and women athletes and physically active individuals are leaner than sedentary individuals. Regular physical activity and exercise training typically result in decreased fat mass and increase in free fat mass. Researchers have reported that physically active individuals and athletes have greater BMD and skeletal muscle mass than their inactive counterparts. Body composition exercises require you to learn to balance and stabilize your body weight. For this, the push-up is a perfect example. It can be difficult as a task for control of a range of muscles. With the push-up, you engage the legs, shoulders, chest, arms, and the all-important core. Desirable body fat percentage. A person's percentage of body fat will vary depending on his or her sex, age, race, and physical activity level. In addition, hormonal changes in women because of pregnancy, menopause, and menstruation can cause water retention that can account for variation in outcomes between tests. Whether someone's percentage body fat is too high for good health depends on a number of variables. For example, some people may fall into the high range of acceptability for percentage of body fat but otherwise be healthy and physically active. Others may have acceptable percentage of body fat levels but have an elevated risk for chronic illness and disease because of poor lifestyle choices.
Body composition assessment techniques. Assessment of body composition is often of great interest to a client. In fact, many clients are compelled to enroll in a fitness training program for the sake of purpose of changing their body composition. Accordingly, it is important to be able to accurately assess a person's body composition to determine a reasonable body weight goal and to develop a safe and effective exercise program to reach it. A number of body composition assessment techniques available, including height, weight tables, body mass index or BMI, and some of the methods that are used today. Purposes of body composition assessment. First, to get baseline information, to document for program assessment, to use as motivational tool, to monitor development in age-related changes and body compositions, to help formulate dietary recommendations, to monitor changes in body composition that are associated with certain disease, to identify a client health risk for excessively high or low levels of body fat, to promote a client's understanding of body fat, to monitor changes in body composition, to assess the effectiveness of nutrition and exercise choices, to help estimate healthy body weight for clients and athletes, to assist in exercise programming. Height and weight tables. The usual way that weight-conscious people track their body weight, not body composition, is to step on the bathroom scale. Periodically weighing oneself on a scale can help track weight gain or lose over time, but doing it provides no information about FM or FFM changes over time. So, height and weight tables designed to be used to determine whether you're with a normal weight range for your height or if you're underweight or overweight. Body mass index or BMI. So in this slide, you can see the body fat percentage based on body mass index for African, American, and white adults. Anthropometric measurements. Anthropometric measurements of the body composition are perhaps the easiest and the least expensive methods for assessing body composition. So the anthropometric measurement, it is used to define physical measures of a person's size, form, and functional capacities. Circumference measurements. Circumference or Gint measures can easily be used to assess body compositions even with significantly overweight clients. So, the body circumference measurements is simply the circumference around the specific area of your body when measured with a measuring tape. So these are the example of the circumference measurement, like measurement of hip circumference and measurement of abdominal circumference. Skin fold measurements is a technique to estimate how much fat is on the body. It involves using a device called caliper to lightly pinch the skin and underlying fat in several places. Bioelectrical impedance analysis. Based on a two-component body composition model, BIA or bioelectrical impedance analysis measures the impedance or resistance to an electrical current as if travels through the body's water pool. An individual TBW contains electrolytes like sodium and potassium, which are excellent conductors of electricity. So, the bioelectrical impedance is considered reasonably accurate for measuring groups. Hydrostatic weighing, it also called hydrodensitometry, and underwater weighing, is considered the benchmark for computing body composition. This technique estimates body composition using measures of body weight, body volume, and residual lung volume. So, hydrostatic weighing is one of the most accurate ways to measure body fat. Other methods of body composition assessment. A. Dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, a relatively new technology that has been found to be accurate and precise. DEXA is based on a three-compartment model that divides the body into three components. First, bone mineral. Second, bone-free FFM and FFM. So it means that DEXA is sophisticated but indirect method which allows measurement of the volume of FM, FFM, and bone mineral mass or density. Air displacement plethysmography or ADP is a relatively new, non-invasive, and rapid way to assess body composition that predicts percent of body fat within 1% to 3% of hydrostatic weighing result. So ADP has been shown to be an accurate and reliable method of measuring body fat in adults. Air displacement plethysmography device. This method measures body volume much like the hydrostatic weighing technique, but instead of using water displacement theory, this machine uses air displacement to determine the body volume of the client. Generally, this method is much more comfortable option for the client to perform compared with hydrostatic weighing. Near-infrared interactants or NIR technology was developed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture to measure the amount of fat contained in beef and pork carcasses. And NIR uses a small probe that emits an infrared light through the skin, fat, lean tissues, and then records their optical densities, a change in color, tone as the light is reflected off bone and back to the probe.